Eli Thompson stood behind the counters of Ma's diner, flipping pancakes and flipping through memories just as fast. At 50, he had the hands of a weathered stone, etched by years of hard work and resilience. His fingers bore the scars of grease, heat, and all the labor that came with running a small-town diner in a world rushing past. The walls were decorated with faded photographs and quirky knickknacks, all remnants of a time when the diner had been the heart of their small community, and when Eli had more dreams than worries. Now, with bills piling up like the dishes in the sink, he often estimated the cost of each item on the menu not just in dollars and cents but in hours of sweat and sacrifice. The modest paycheck from the diner barely covered his rent. The old pickup rusted quietly in the lot behind the diner, a reflection of his struggle. Each jingle of the bell above the entrance could easily have been the sound of another opportunity slipping away, a reminder that he was inching closer to a place where pride and poverty collided. But Eli was made of stronger stuff than mere misfortune. He reminded himself that giving up wasn't a virtue, and every plate he served carried a little more than eggs and bacon. It held warmth, stories, and the fragments of connection that he desperately craved. A veteran himself, Eli understood the heavy silence that sometimes draped over others like a shadow. He knew that hardship was a language spoken fluently in the diner every day. That Tuesday morning felt heavier than usual. Eli had barely set the coffee to brew before one of the regulars, an elderly gentleman with a crooked smile, leaned closer and shared a story about his own struggles. That warm morning light danced through the diner's plaid curtains, catching dust motes in the air as Eli listened intently, offering empathy like a lifeboat in a sea of worry. He always believed that kindness made a difference, though sometimes it felt as if the tide enthusiasm was waning. Just then the door swung open, and with a gust of wind, a stranger stepped in. She was not particularly striking, with a simple gray sweater and weathered jeans, but there was an undeniable aura about her, as though kindness wrapped around her like a halo. When she approached the counter, eyed the specials board, and ordered just a cup of coffee, Eli noticed the way she seemed to relish every sip, as if it was nectar rather than a mere beverage. Eli went in his customary routine, chatting softly with patrons who waved and laughed among themselves, until he spotted the familiar figure of a veteran, Sam, trudging in from the cold, snow crunching under his worn-out boots. Sam, who had served for 20 years, wore the weight of loss and resilience in equal measure. His benefits barely kept him afloat, and today the air hung heavy with uncertainty. He glanced at the payphone in the corner, hesitation brushing across his face. Before Eli could reach for the bill or call for him to sit at the booth, the stranger spoke up unexpectedly, her voice clear and warm. "I got this." To Eli's shock, she strode over to Sam and pressed a few crumpled bills into his hand. "No one deserves to worry about a bus fare," she said gently. The surprise in Sam's eyes gave way to pure gratitude, a soft-hearted smile blooming on his weathered face. It was a brief moment, quick yet profound, a flicker of kindness igniting a sense of belonging. As he watched them, Eli felt something shift inside him, a lightness he hadn't experienced in what seemed like ages. This act of kindness stirred a yearning in him for connection, a reminder of the very spirit that had once animated the diner. It was a spark that propelled them all forward, mingling warmth and shared humanity just for that moment. After the woman had left and Sam gratefully made his way to one of the booths, Eli couldn't help but think that perhaps he could bring more of that spirit into the diner. Perhaps the kindness would ripple further than that single moment, planting seeds of generosity that might blossom into something bigger. What he didn't know was that the very next morning, fate had more surprises in store, waiting to unfold like the bright pages of an unwritten story. That stranger's kindness would not only reach Eli and Sam but would tie their lives into an unbreakable thread, woven through gratitude and connection. It was a reminder that sometimes hope can arrive in unexpected forms, and that kindness, when shared, has a way of blossoming when you least expect it. The sun peaked above the horizon the next morning, casting golden hues over Willow Grove. As Sam Holloway prepared for his morning bus route, he reflected on the encounter at the diner the day before. It felt like a strange magic had been woven into the fabric of their community, an invisible thread stitching together moments of kindness. As he waited for the bus to warm up, his thoughts drifted to Eli at Ma's diner. The warmth in the man's smile, and the way the stranger's simple gesture had lifted not just his spirits but all of theirs. He thought about how fragile hope could feel some days, but in this moment it seemed to blossom anew. A smile crept across his face as he thought again of the elderly gentleman. This time he felt he had the strength to reach out to others in his daily journey. When he stepped onto the bus and greeted his passengers with a cheery good morning, conversations erupted around him. There was Maggie, the single mother juggling 3 jobs to support her 2 kids, and Sam could see the exhaustion lining her face. There was Greg, an aspiring musician, lamenting about loan payments he couldn't keep up with while staying hopeful that his big break was just around the corner. Sam listened, sharing in the laughter and the burdens, his heart swelling with compassion. As the bus rolled through the leafy streets of Willow Grove, he made a determination to carry on the wave of kindness he had experienced. When it was time to drop off passengers at the next stop, Sam watched as a little girl named Amy clutched a tattered teddy bear with a hopeful sparkle in her eyes. She leapt off the bus and waved, and Sam returned her wave with a genuine grin, feeling a sense of joy indescribable in those simple exchanges. In the afternoon, Sam began making it a ritual to spend time at Ma's diner, joining Eli during slow hours. Each conversation with Eli deepened their camaraderie, and over cups of steaming coffee they shared their dreams, fears, and laughter. Sam learned that Eli had once aspired to be a chef and had even toyed with the idea of opening his own restaurant, dreams that felt dimmed by financial burdens and the relentless demands of survival. Lightness and warmth engulfed the diner as they fostered a friendship filled with hope. Inspired by recent events and their mutual understanding, Sam suggested they organize a community potluck at the diner. They would invite others to bring their favorite dishes and perhaps share some stories, bridging an invisible gap fueled by hardship. Eli's eyes lit up with excitement. With determination and enthusiasm, Sam began promoting the potluck through the bus. As he rode through Willow Grove, word of the event began to spread. "Bring your favorite dish and let's share a meal," became the rallying point, and soon whispers of excitement grew louder than the usual worries of daily life. The day of the potluck arrived, and despite the looming clouds overhead, a sense of warmth shimmered through the bustling diner. Families filled the booths, laughter intermixed with stories of accomplishments and trials. Sam felt a sense of connection deeper than surface interactions scattered throughout everyday life. He watched as people bonded over shared dishes, discovering new friendships while reminiscing about favorite flavors and how food connected them to their roots. There was Maggie dishing up a generous helping of lasagna with a smile, while Greg strummed his guitar softly in the corner, humming a tune of hope that melded effortlessly into the atmosphere. The chatter of voices intertwined old and young, burdened and hopeful. The diner transformed into a sanctuary, a safe space where joy bubbled up like the steaming mugs of coffee they cherished. The stranger visited again that evening, but this time with a bouquet of flowers, vivid sunflowers that captured the light and life in the room. She walked directly to Sam and Eli, her presence commanding the attention of the gathering. "I'm sorry," she began. "I didn't properly introduce myself before. I'm Clara. I was just passing through yesterday and felt a pull to this place. I'm glad to see you all thriving here." A moment of silence fell, replaced swiftly by grateful murmurs. Clara's sincerity filled the room with warmth. When she explained that she was a community organizer visiting from another town, Sam felt a flicker of inspiration light inside him. Clara was deeply intrigued by Eli's passion for cooking and expressed interest in helping him turn his vision for a restaurant into reality. Her eyes shone with prospects, filled with vibrant energy as she outlined her ideas about grants and local resources supporting entrepreneurs. The connection between Clara and Eli blossomed, and what began as a single act of kindness rippled outward, transforming their narratives. Sam watched the spark return to Eli's spirit as they discussed ideas for a community kitchen, opening up opportunities for individuals like Maggie and Greg to showcase their cooking talents. Upon hearing about the potential for grants and resources, Sam felt a swell of optimism. This could benefit not just Eli but many others in Willow Grove as well. Inspired, he approached Greg, who was still strumming on his guitar, moaning softly about bills left unpaid. "What if we host an open mic night?" Sam suggested, eyes sparkling. "You could showcase your music, and who knows? It might bring in more opportunities down the road." Tears welled in Greg's eyes. "I want to," he said, voice trembling, "but what if no one shows?" Sam shook his head firmly. "No one is alone here. We band together, we lift each other up. There are things we can do, we just need to try." And try they did. The potluck turned into a monthly gathering, and the comments from the community turned to determination. Clara worked alongside Eli, creating a business plan that genuinely reflected their mutual aspirations, transforming Ma's Diner into a space for culinary diversity where everyone had a chance to shine. Word spread like wildfire. The town buzzed with excitement each time they put out a call for the next event, increasingly bringing together families, musicians, chefs, and aspiring artists. Stories of hardship soon mingled amid those of triumph. As the weeks turned into months, the routine of the diner changed. Sam's bus route began to feel less monotonous, filled with vibrant energy and the exchange of community wisdom. He watched people smile again, witnessed their hopes flare up and mingle under common laughter, reminding him of what it meant to care for themselves and for one another. The autumn leaves slowly turned gold and then soon fell. Beneath each crumbling leaf was a lesson woven into the memories they built together, the simple joys, the awareness that kindness is perpetually boundless, and the act of caring for your neighbor might just be the first step toward a greater transformation. The financial burdens that once hounded Sam and Eli were still relevant, but they were swiftly overtaken by the emergence of opportunity, partnerships, and fresh aspirations now blooming around them. Clara's ideas began to materialize into reality. With renewed purpose, Eli's menu evolved, and soon his culinary dreams found wings. Community members began taking cooking classes, sharing dishes made from home, and inviting each other to explore and innovate. Through their journeys, Sam, Eli, and Greg unearthed alliances that transformed them, leading to challenges and triumphs they never anticipated. The bus rides led Sam to connections he hadn't imagined, and in turn, old grievances about financial worries transformed, cascading through their lives with productivity and purpose, holding on to every moment of kindness they could foster. As the diner grew to once again be the heart of Willow Grove, it became clear the simple acts of compassion ignited a wildfire of optimism, binding communities together while casting away shadows of doubt. Each plate served, each smile shared, contributed to a tapestry of support that enveloped them all. Little by little, they learned that resilience was rooted in relationships, and even in the harshest of winters, kindness would always lead them toward hope's warm embrace. As autumn slid into winter, Eli's Diner became a hub not just for food but for connection. Its humble walls, once draped in nostalgia, now vibrated with life and laughter, echoing the stories shared over steaming mugs of coffee and heaping plates of comfort food. As the days grew colder, so too did the camaraderie inside. It was warmth against the chill that swept through Willow Grove. Every evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, the diner transformed into a space alive with chatter and music. Sam, Eli, and Greg stood behind the counter serving not just food, but comfort. They were the faces of resilience, as if their smiles could shield the community against the hardships that life had tossed their way. Clara had brought more than just plans for a community kitchen. She had become an integral part of their mission. With her knowledge and connections, they secured grants to revamp the diner. What had once been a small-town eatery was evolving into a training ground for aspiring chefs and artists. Local talent filled the booths, showcasing their skills in cozy open mic nights while sharing their narratives, aspirations, and dreams. Eli no longer simply flipped pancakes, he ignited passions. Each culinary class attracted budding chefs eager to learn his secrets. He poured his heart into teaching, inspiring his students to see food as more than sustenance. It was a form of storytelling, a medium through which they could share their cultures, traditions, and hopes. The diner became infused with flavors from every corner of the world, a beautiful melting pot that celebrated diversity. Sam, on the other hand, interwove his experiences as a bus driver into the growing community initiative. He organized a kindness bus, a vehicle serving as a mobile pantry and soup kitchen. With each stop, Sam donned the role of bearer of compassion, inviting passengers aboard to share meals, mentor conversations, and connect neighbors who previously felt invisible. Maggie brought her children along to help. The trio of young ones bundled up in coats would hand out food while giggling with delight. They were not only learning the importance of kindness, but also witnessing the profound impact it had on people's lives. One frigid Saturday, as Sam sat in the bus before making rounds, he reflected on how far they had come. He had once been just a weary driver with dreams stifled by his financial situation. But now he felt grateful for the turns his life had taken, the people he had met, the lives he had touched, and the fulfilling friendships he had cultivated. As the months rolled on, the fruits of their labor began to bloom. Eli's Diner, buzzing with life, had captured attention beyond Willow Grove. Local newspapers featured the space, lauding it as a model of community spirit. Soon, people from neighboring towns flocked to experience the warmth, and positive word of mouth propelled the diner into a popular destination. With increased foot traffic came a new challenge: keeping up with demand. But this was an exciting dilemma. Clara helped manage the bustling crowds while Eli educated and elevating local talent, transforming employees into partners in a shared dream of making the diner not just a restaurant, but a beacon of hope. As the wheel of fortune turned, Eli expanded his menu, offering catering services for events and gatherings. They even started a weekly Taste of the World night, where special dishes highlighted different cuisines, and community members shared stories from their heritage. Each event drew larger crowds, filling the diner with music, laughter, and strength. Financially, the changes were profound. Eli could finally breathe again for the first time in years. He was able to pay himself a salary and cover the diner's bills consistently. He even hired a few more helping hands, creating a ripple effect of job opportunities in the community. As spring blossomed, the day approached when Eli invited Clara, Sam, and Greg to gather for a meeting. The light filtered in through the diner's windows, casting a golden hue on their table piled with ideas, menus, and plans for the upcoming community festival aimed at truly celebrating the bonds they had forged through hardship. "Look where we are now," Eli started, his voice a mixture of disbelief and joy. Who would have thought that a simple act of kindness could grow into this? "And it all started with you," Clara interjected, her eyes sparkling. "When you reached out to help that stranger, it opened a door. Each person who walked through it has contributed in ways we never imagined." Sam thought back to that moment when he first gave George a helping hand. All too often it felt as though kindness was a whisper against the roar of hardship. But in Willow Grove, it had taken root, intertwining through their lives like wildflowers through cracked pavement, resilient and beautiful. Greg chimed in, his voice low, yet firm. "I didn't believe things would change. I was stuck in that loop of rent and debt, but look at us now. I'm playing music, I'm finally writing again, and it feels as if I have a home here." Nodding, they all shared a moment of gratitude for each other, for the unexpected friendships that had forged the bonds of resilience. Their lives, once painted in shades of struggle and doubt, were now golden with hope and newfound purpose. As excitement buzzed in the room, Eli announced a surprise plan for the festival. "Let's invite the Veterans Association. It's important we give back to those who've served, just like George reminded us. They deserve a day to celebrate too." Each smile reflected their shared vision, gathering purpose in unseen threads of compassion and recognition. Their vision was bigger than just a meal, it was about acknowledging sacrifices while embracing growth. The festival day arrived, buzzing with energy. The diner was transformed into a mosaic of colors, laughter echoing in every corner. Vendors set up stalls filled with crafts and cultural dishes, while musicians played in between, creating an atmosphere electrified by joy and shared laughter. As Eli watched families and friends gather around their tables, he felt the immense weight of gratitude wash over him. The rows of happy faces and the stories penned across his kitchen made him realize that the true legacy of kindness spread far and wide. Each plated meal was a lesson, a gift to the community, and a reflection of the love that flourished within the walls. Just then, a familiar figure emerged from the crowd. George, the veteran who had unknowingly sparked Eli's journey, stepped into the diner, his eyes lighting up as they connected. Eli hurried toward him, wrapping him in a sturdy embrace. "I never would have believed that one small act could evolve into this. I'm so grateful for everything you've done," George said, his voice thick with emotion. Eli gestured around them. "It's not just me. This is your legacy, too. Your kindness touched more lives than you could ever know." Sam approached, smiling brightly. "You set something in motion, George. Thank you for reminding us that kindness knows no bounds." The elderly veteran's face creased with joy, eyes reflecting the spirit of the community around them. "And thank you for reminding me what it means to belong. You've taken a little kindness and turned it into a beautiful flowering garden." The words reverberated through Eli, Sam, and Greg as they stood together a newfound family, bound not by blood but by heart. They breathed in the festival's ambience, feeling a sense of completion. Every challenge they faced had brought them here, and their lives had undergone a metamorphosis shaped by the kindness they bestowed. Later that night, when the festivities began to ebb and quietude prevailed, Eli found a moment to reflect. The diner remained alive with the memories of laughter, stories, and purpose transformed like the seasons around them. It was here, with a heart grown lighter and a sense of achievement, that Eli realized that kindness not only changes lives but strengthens bonds, enables growth, and inspires hope. With every plate shared, every story exchanged, they forged a legacy of togetherness that would ripple through Willow Grove for generations to come. As he looked around the battered walls of the diner, he felt a deep gratitude surging within. Perhaps the world could be a brighter place, if only they continued to nurture kindness in every small gesture, empowering one another through adversity into a forever blossoming garden of compassion. And what began that day with a simple act of goodness kindled by a bus driver and a weary veteran would remain illuminating paths and hearts just waiting to connect. In that warmth they would rise each day hand in hand, fostering a world where no act of kindness went unnoticed, standing resilient against all challenges yet to come.